Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, Facebook family. Good evening. It is now 7:01 and we are live from And That's the Kind of God We Serve. As you can see on tonight, I am flying solo for the moment, just for the moment. My illustrious co-host is on location tonight, so she'll be joining us shortly. So I just want to wait a few minutes to give some people a chance to come in. We are excited to be hosting another episode. This is episode number 19. I can't even y'all excuse me, I do this every time. I forget to turn my media down, but I want to make sure that I can see comments and people who join. Hey, Miss Pam, I see you're on. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm still praying for you and your well-being. You're in our prayers. We love you. So I am just going to wait a few minutes. This feels really weird, y'all. Me being by myself. It feels really weird. But, we know that life happens and, some circumstances cause us to have to do things in a different way. And sometimes we fly solo. But God is with us. We're never alone. God is with us always. So we're just excited about what's going to happen on tonight. We do have an awesome guest on tonight. And we're going to hear his powerful testimony and then whatever God leads him to say to his people on tonight. We're excited about that. God bless you, Pastor Keisha. God bless you, nephew Kari, Sister Suzanne. Thank y'all so much for joining us. I'm going to be looking down at my phone so I can make sure I see when people join. Hey, nephew. Excited to see you on tonight. And just hoping that some more join us. So we don't want anybody to miss out on what God is doing in the lives of his people. We don't want anybody to miss out on the great things that he has to say through his servants. So we're excited. I'm just trying to get used to just being here by myself. But I know I'll be okay. I know God's got me. He's got me. All right, so it is 7:04. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'll do the prayer and scripture, and I will give a quick testimony as we're waiting for Elder Lydia to join us. Hey, Sister Gina. Hey there. So we're just going to go ahead and get started, okay? So let us look to the Lord. Father God, in the precious name of Jesus. Father, we thank you. We praise you, oh God, for this time, this hour that has come, oh God, to bring your goodness and your greatness to the world, oh God. We thank you and praise you, oh God, for another day that you have allowed us to see that was not promised to us, oh God. We thank you and praise you for your mercy and your grace and your goodness and your love and your kindness towards us. God, we're just so grateful for who you are, oh God. We thank you, oh God, for what you're doing in our lives, oh God. We thank you for your protection and your provision. And Father, we just want you to be in the midst on tonight, God. We want you to lead and guide us, oh God, and everything that we say or do. God, we come against any technical difficulties, oh God, anything that might hinder the airways, oh God. We don't know, but God, we know, oh God, that you have all things under control, and we trust you completely, oh God. We give you all glory, honor, and praise, oh God, for that. And we ask you to bless our guest on tonight. We pray that you would touch him, oh God. We pray that you would use him for your glory. God, we pray that you'll speak to him and speak through him, oh God. Have your way on tonight. Bless Lydia, oh God, as she is on location on tonight. God bless her where she is. Keep her safe. And God, we look forward to her joining us, oh God. But we just thank you for all things, and we give you all glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. And we know that our theme scripture is Psalm 105:1. Give thanks to the Lord, proclaim his greatness, and let the whole world know what he has done. And that is our endeavor, to let the whole world know what he has done. He is a good God. He's a great God. He's an awesome God. He's a mighty God. Hallelujah. Yes, nephew, I know God has quit me. I thank you for that. Hey, Sister Cherie, that's Lydia's mother. Thank you for watching. And Sister Debbie, thank y'all so much for coming in. We thank God for you. We're just excited again to be on another episode of And That's the Kind of God We Serve. And really, I don't really have any outstanding testimony. We always can proclaim God's goodness. We always can talk about how good he is and how great he has blessed us in our lives. And we're just so grateful. We're just so grateful to be among the land of the living. So much is going on with the pandemic, and other things are happening, and people are getting sick, people are dying. And we're just grateful that God saw fit for us to open our eyes. I'm grateful that he saw fit for me to open my eyes today and be in good health and have strength and the ability to see and talk and walk and whatever, we're able to do. So I'm just grateful for his goodness. He's just a good God. He's a mighty God. And we know that he's not done in our lives. He's not done yet. He's not done blessing us. He's not done showing how mighty he is to us. He's not done. So we're grateful for that. We're just excited. And I am, for one, just waiting. You know how you sit back and you just waiting for God to just do something amazing. He never disappoints. He'll never disappoint us in amazing us and what he can do and what he's already done. And you know how sometimes you stand in expectation, and then when it happens, you're still in awe. You're still amazed. Even though you pray for it and you believe in God for it and you're trusting him for it, you're still amazed about what he does. And I remember reading the scripture when Peter was in jail, and the saints, they were at home and they were praying for him, and they were just waiting for God to release him from prison, right? And we know how God freed Peter, and he showed up at the door. He showed up at the door while they were praying for him. God set him free. God answered their prayer, but yet while they were praying, he showed up, and they couldn't even believe it was him. The young lady went back and told him, said, "Hey, Peter's at the door." And they said, "Oh, no, it can't be. It can't be. That's his ghost." And see how we do when we ask God to do something, and how quick we forget that we believe that he's going to do what we ask him to do. And then when he does it, we don't even believe what he said. Isn't that crazy? Like, that is really, really crazy. I have done that before, and I'm sure many of us have. But when we pray and ask God for something, we have to believe that he is going to do what we're asking him to do. We have to stand in expectation of that. And yes, and when we see it, we still are amazed because we're so grateful to him. We're so grateful to him. Yes, Sister Karen, I'm waiting on a move of God, and we know he's going to move. We're standing in expectation of that move, and we're going to praise him in advance before he moves, when he moves, while he's moving, after he moves. We're going to give him praise and honor and glory because it belongs to him. So I am not going to prolong the hour any longer. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to bring our guest in. Like I said, Lydia, she's on location. She is going to join us shortly. She will be with us. She is going to join us. She's going to be a little late, but she's going to join us on tonight. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our wonderful, awesome guest, Pastor Billy Cook. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in so that he can hear how we're going to introduce him and what we're saying about him. So, hey, co-pastor, I see you watching. Okay, we should be coming in shortly, I believe. There he is. Hey, Pastor Cook. Pastor Billy Cook from New Covenant Full Gospel Ministries. Is it Ministries? Am I saying that right?
New Covenant Life Full Gospel Ministries. Yes.
Why I keep leaving out life?
I don't know.
I don't know why I keep leaving out that one word. I'm so sorry. I thought I had it right from the last time.
It's
New
right.
Covenant Life Full Gospel.
Yes. Yes.
I'll get it right. They know who you look. If they know you, they know who you are. They know who I'm talking about.
Right.
Well, welcome to And That's the Kind of God We Serve. I'm so excited to have you with us on tonight. We're glad just we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for this night. After we had Pastor Keisha Cook, we was like, oh, we gotta get Pastor Billy Cook to come on. So we were just excited. We're excited. So welcome. As you see, as I explained to you earlier, Lydia's going to join us shortly. I did talk to her, so she's going to join us shortly. But we're going to go ahead and get started. We don't want to prolong the time.
Perfect.
So as we do with every guest that we invite to come on, we ask that one question, and that is, what was that defining moment that brought you to Jesus?
What was the defining moment?
Yes. Or series of events. We don't know. It could have been more than one thing, but.
Okay, I'm gonna say for me, I can't say it was one defining moment. It was more or less more like a series of things that was taking place in my life at that time, because my life was, was void of God. And I'm a West Sider, so
oh wow,
we do things differently. We live a little differently. So
for the people who don't know, what's a West Sider?
West Sider is a guy like me from the hood.
Okay.
straight from the hood, straight from Lake Street. If you know anything about Salisbury, I'm a Lake Streeter.
Okay, so, okay.
Yeah. So we live a little differently. I mean, we believe in God, but we live a little differently. We don't think there's nothing we can't do all by ourselves. So, it's a lot of pride in what we do.
Okay.
And a lot of faith in yourself leads you nowhere. But I think for me, I think I had already been having a conversation with God just between him and I, trying to figure out what life was really all about. Because the way life was going at that time, the one question I used to always ask him was, is this it? Is this all to life? Because if this is all to life, then I must be missing something. I'm partying, I'm hanging out, I'm working, I got money, all that good stuff. But life was still, a challenge. You still had an empty spot that, that just didn't make sense. So for me at the time, all of my close buddies and even two of my brothers had just been arrested for selling narcotics. So I remember sitting at the playground, nobody out there but just me. Had my basketball. That's what I usually do when I need to think or get away, as I take my basketball and start shooting. And I remember sitting on my basketball saying to God, how is it that you let everybody else go to jail but me?
Wow.
How is it? If anybody deserved to go, it's me. So how is it that everybody else goes to jail but me? And I said, evidently there must be something to my life that has to be more than what I'm living right now. Wow. And I think that was the road that started to lead me to wanting to know what life was really all about. So one of my buddies, you had him on before, Pastor Corbin.
Okay, yes.
Right. That's my buddy. Yeah, we go way back. How you doing?
Hey.
He ended up getting saved in jail.
Right, yes.
He came home, the lingo between him and I was a little different. So, he started to talk to me about who God was and what God had done for him. And I really wasn't trying to hear that. But at the same time, I still had my own questions about, what is life really all about? I've already studied Muslim before. So, I was really into my roots, where we come from as Black people. So I had a lot of history and I had a lot of, Muslim teachings already. And I thought that's the way I wanted to go. But then you find, there's loopholes in a lot of things. When you start finding out real truths, it make you look at things in a whole different manner. So when I started looking at a lot of truths, I didn't agree with them. So then I still kept saying, to God in my private time, man, you got to do something, because this ain't the life that I was bargaining for, man. This ain't the life that I was looking forward to.
Wow. So
I think all of that with a combination of Elder Corbin, Pastor Corbin being saved and being able to talk to me from a salvation point of view, from somebody I know, somebody who did the same things I did, came from the same place I came from, but now is saying that life is better with God than it is without God. So it really made me start to consider those things. I really sat down and say, well, I done tried this, so I might as well let me give it a shot and see what happens. See what happens. So he ended up inviting me to a service. And long story short, in that service, God moved on me and I gave him my life.
Whew. God be the glory.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I think it worked when we see somebody that we used to hang out with.
Right.
And when they done made a change, and we look at them like, man, how different about them. I can't believe so-and-so, not him. Right. So it becomes more real for us when we see that.
Absolutely. I mean, like my house we grew up in was right up the street from a church. There was a church right behind our house. So I've seen a lot of church people. Mm-hmm. You know, I've seen a lot of people go in. I've seen a lot of people come out. I've seen a lot of people go to church and hang out with me. So when you run into somebody who's been in the street with you, mm-hmm. and then you start to see, you know, you start to hear it, and you start to realize, you know, he ain't never lied to me before. I don't know why he would lie to me now. And then you start seeing that the truth, you know, being evident in his life, it really makes you sit down and think, you know, if he decided to do this, then, you know, maybe, just maybe, maybe, mm-hmm. maybe, perhaps, possibly. Mm-hmm. I'm not totally convinced, but just maybe. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I found out, you know, a lot of things start with a seed. And if the seed is planted and you start to dwell on it, that seed will start to grow in you. Start to make you think about things that you never considered before. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody wants a great life. Trust me, even people who are lost want a great life. They have great dreams, but a lot of people don't know how to get there. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you need, you know, something that gets your attention, something that you cannot deny. And that's what that was for me. Mm-hmm. I just could not deny. I'm looking at it. I hear it. I see it.
It's evident.
It's evident. Yes. Mm-hmm. Wow. So it makes you consider what you have already been talking to God about. How do I get from where I am to what I think is a better life? Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That, man, when that moment comes, though, when it comes, it's just no, you're right. It's no denying it.
It's none. Not at all.
None.
Not at all.
So Pastor Cook, tell us a little bit about your childhood, your upbringing, you know, that what shaped you into the man you are today. And believe me, we all have a past. We know that we all been through some things, but we can still reflect back on our childhood and things in our past and our life that caused us to be where we are today.
Got you.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, for me, you know, life was really good for me when we first started out, man. I figured we were the first Black people who lived in Mayberry. Yeah. Because we lived in a neighborhood where everybody knew everybody. Everything was cool. We stayed outside and played in front of my mom's house, you know, to the wee hours of the morning. And all the neighbors knew each other. So if I'm down the street misbehaving, you know, the parent handled me and then called my mom. So I got it twice. Mm-hmm. You know, so it was good. I mean, it was 6 of us. I had both my mom and my dad. So, you know, already for a Black man, that's a blessing already.
Yes.
So life for us was good. I mean, we did everything together. My parents, you know, we weren't rich, but my parents made sure that you had enrichment. So they took you places that other people didn't go. I mean, you got to see things. I mean, every year, every summer, we had a vacation as a family. We went to different places that a lot of my friends had never ever seen, had never been out of the neighborhood. So for me, it started off as it was a blessing, man. Like I said, we don't have Black people in Mayberry until I turned 10. And when I turned 10, we moved from what I call Mayberry to Lake Street. Oh. So we went from Mayberry to Pompeii. So we end up in a war zone.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So that was tough. A lot of people don't know, but that was tough. One of my first experiences was, you know, people not liking you for no reason, wanting to fight for no reason, just because you knew in the neighborhood. That was very, very interesting to me. I was like, y'all don't even know us. I mean, they followed us from the bus stop all the way home, you know, pushing and shoving, just wanting to fight. We were just like, wow, this is where we are. So I said to my dad when I got in the house, why did we move here? Mm-hmm. Let's go back to where, you know, we lived in love. Because over here, man, these people are crazy. Crazy. And, you know, that started a whole different lifestyle, a whole different mentality. We had to change quickly, me and my little brother. It went from living in life and love and being free to being fearful, and then adorning a mentality where I'm going to get you before you get me. So we went from a place where we had no violence to where violence became, you know, the everyday norm. And that stuff changes people. I mean, I used to tell my wife sometimes when people used to make the comment that they are a product of their environment, I used to always say, I don't really believe that's me, but I had to find out later on in life that that really was me. My environment really changed who I was up until I was 10 years old. And I became a totally different person, still that loving and caring kid inside, but will defend myself to death if that's what it come down to. Because of the environment that I live in, because the environment that we moved to, we were taught early, don't ever let anybody threaten you. Don't let everybody get within arm's reach of you. You throw the first punch and the last punch.
Wow.
So things change quickly. Now, granted, through all of this, my life was kind of shaped because older people always saw like, they would always make me a leader. Like, you know, a lot of people don't know that I was a Boy Scout for years, along with playing football and basketball at the Salvation Army. You know, even when I was in grade school, teachers will always like say, well, we're gonna pick you, we're gonna put you in the front, we're gonna do blah, blah, blah. So they were always saying, I see more in you, you know, and I didn't see it. I was reluctant. I don't want to be out front. I don't want this, I don't want that. But they knew who I was before I knew who I was. So I've always had strong men in my life, and I've always had people be able to speak into my life and tell me who I was before I even knew. So even in a chaotic environment, there were people in that chaotic environment who would say to me stuff like, you know, I can see you're going to go far. I can see that, you know, you're not going to be a product of the environment. I can see that you are going to be different. And I'm just like, I don't know what you see, because I'm just trying to survive out here. And those things, you know, good and bad, are what shaped me to be the man that I am. Like I said, I was blessed to have my dad for the majority of my life. And my dad always spoke wisdom to me. He always talked to me about how to handle things rightly, even though I would have to use my hands and I would have to put my hands on people. He would still talk to me about what is right and what is the right way to do things and how to handle people, and always treating people the way that you want them to treat you, and always lending a hand to somebody, even if they don't give it back to you, because God would always lend a hand to you when you need it. I mean, good stuff. You hear me? Good stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I'm in a chaotic environment, you know, where people are being killed and shot, and I'm looking at it as a young kid and not being able to understand why these things take place the way they do. I still had people being able to pull me aside and talk to me about who I was and who I was going to be growing up. So good and bad, it shaped me. It taught me, you know, how to persevere through things that most people probably would have never made it through. And it taught me how to have a dream outside of where you live. You hear what I'm saying? Outside of what you see every day. I can still dream outside of that and have a hope that my life was going to shape out and turn out better than the people that I saw every day. I don't want to go to prison. I don't want nobody to kill me. I don't want to kill nobody. I mean, but so you still end up with a hope that took you outside of all that chaos. So, you know, God was really, really strategic in my life. He set people in my life who were from my neighborhood, who cared about the people in our neighborhood, and was able to speak life into me, even when I had no clue, no idea who I was, which way to go, or what I was going to do next.
So you say that people saw leadership in you, but look how God was setting you up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The whole time. The whole time. Taking me places, you know, that made no sense. I mean, I like I said, I don't have time to tell you all, but like I had Mr. Billy Jackson. I had a man named Luther Langford. Mr. Billy Jackson was my coach, but he was also what people don't know, he was also my 4-H mentor. So, I mean, as a Black kid in a chaotic neighborhood, we had real role models who got you involved in stuff that normally you would not be involved in. You know, some of the stuff that people make movies about, I lived that. I lived that. I was one of the very first people on an all-Black soccer team when I was growing up. Wow. A lot of people don't know that. You know, I was in 4-H. I was in Boy Scouts. A lot of people don't know that about me. You know, and that's because these men decided to do something different than teach us just basketball or football, or teach us how to survive or be thugs or be drug dealers or whatever. I mean, you know, they decided to put something in us that will possibly save our lives later on. And those things worked, man. I mean, we in Boy Scouts, we not only did all of your trainings and whatnot, but we were a marching Boy Scout unit. So we had to learn discipline, man. We had to learn how to trust and love each other. You know, they taught us a lot of things when we were younger that probably really, really saved our lives, man, because it caused us to have compassion on people that we normally would not. So yeah, man, I mean, he was setting us up the whole time. Like I say, you got Pastor Corbin out of that group. You got me out of that group. You got Pastor Alvin Harmon out of that group.
Wow.
You got Pastor McCoy Curtis out of that group. It was a bunch of us. Yes. It was a bunch of us that God strategically put his hands on when we were growing up, and decided that we would not be destroyed by the environment, that we would overcome, even when we had no idea of what overcoming was really all about. And these men, I mean, like I said, Billy Jackson, Luther Langford, Martin Dixon, Howard Ward, good grief, man. Billy Purnell, who later on became a pastor himself. He was our first soccer coach. You know, Jerry West. You know, these guys, they didn't know us. They didn't know us from a can of paint. And to be honest, we gave them hell in the beginning. We were not friendly.
That's real.
To outsiders. You know, and these guys came in, man, and they did wonderful things with us, man. Opened our eyes, despite our attitudes, despite the things that we sometimes put them through. They still opened our eyes and carried us into places, man, that our dreams were not even focused that way, man. We were just trying to survive and earn reputations in the neighborhood that wasn't gonna get you nowhere. Right.
Wow.
Right. So God had a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it says where we can become a product of our environment. Yes.
How about it?
But we don't have to become a victim.
How about it?
Of our environment. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be an excuse. Like, we don't have to end up in a place and say, oh, because I was raised this way, this is why I am now.
That's right. That's right.
Because I was raised this way is what made me
right
where I am now. I'm in a better place because of what I went through.
Absolutely. And see, and when you realize that all of that hood neighborhood stuff is just talk, there's no truth and no substance to it, you know, then you can thank God for the other substance that he was putting in you, because you have something to turn to. A lot of people right now had nothing to turn to.
Yes.
Because they didn't have that. You know, like I said, we were fortunate, we were blessed. You know, we had people who actually took the time to pour into us something that if, you know, I gave it a second thought, it really would save my life. It really would. And it did. It did. It caused us to think outside of the box, man. When we found ourselves in hopeless situations, we had a reservoir that said to us, oh, just maybe not, hold on. If you could do this, then maybe you could do what they've been saying to you the whole time. You know, maybe you can help be change instead of more of the problem. And I mean, we started to buy into that slowly but surely. Started to buy into that. So I thank God for men, whether it was my dad or other men who just decided, I'm going to give you my hand, and what you do with it is up to you, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. So, you know, that's really kind of how my life and my environment kind of shaped me. You know, it taught me how to be a tough guy, but it also taught me how not to die in tough situations.
So expound upon that, please.
Not die.
Now we're getting into your testimony. We want to piece of your testimony.
I mean, you know, like I said, from being from a tough spot, we got into everything. I've done everything. If you think of it, I've done it, and I've probably done it twice. But we never lost hope in that. I mean, I've got a lot of friends right to this day that we just never lost hope in it. I mean, I've got friends whose lives have been really altered, man. I mean, I got a couple of my best friends who's doing life in prison, you know, and never to get out again unless God doesn't move. And that could have been any of us, because we've done a number of things to warrant that kind of judgment, you know, from the state and the law's perspective. However, we never felt like we had no hope. We always felt like, you know, if I can make it through this, then I also can make it out of here somehow, and make it out of here in one whole piece. Now, let me make sure you understand that. Not in pieces, but in one whole piece, which means I have my mind, my body, and everything intact. You know, I'm not loose in my mind. I'm very, very, you know, sound in mind, and I can still make it out of here and do what we haven't seen most of our older brothers and sisters, or, you know, friends and family do. Not from this area. Most of them go to jail. They go to prison. They stay there a long time, or they end up dead, either a murder or murderer. And we just believe that somehow, you know, we gonna make it out of here. So the environment taught me how to be tough. It taught me how to go into diverse situations and always have a mentality that I am going to survive. I am going to make it out of here. And then we used to say that no matter what. I used to tell myself that all the time. I'm not gonna let nobody kill me. And if God give me mercy, I'm not gonna kill anybody. But I'm never gonna let nobody hurt me. And I'm not gonna die here. My parents had put up too much into us for us to die like that. And I'm not doing it. So I taught myself, you know, how to be rugged and rough at the same time. But because of the goodness that was being poured into us, it taught us how to survive, watch this, the right way in tough situations. Now you've given me all this good information. You've poured it into me. You made me believe it. You show me that if I trust it, it works to some degree. Okay, so as I get older, I have that with me. So I can be tough when I need to be, but then I can also be wise and find that there's a door open for me that leads me out of here. I don't have to stay here and struggle. And when things get tough, if I get tougher, I'll make it out of here, because I made it through tough stuff before. I made it through stuff that people just wouldn't believe. So if I made it through then, and I put that with the wisdom and the hope that these other men were instilling in us, and watch this, these were men who came from this area, and they were able to make. So I'm standing, I'm looking at me as I get older. So that tells me that, yeah, I can survive. As long as I survive, I can get out of here. I know I can get out of here. So I can survive tough situations, and I don't have to die in them.
Nice.
So God had a plan, man, and it included me, even when I couldn't see it. So, you know, the hope that he put in me early, and the vision that he gave me early by being able to put people in front of me who have already done it. You know, and I hope nobody gets this misconstrued, because we've had some of those guys that were in front of us, you know, overdose and die. You know, they were our leaders. They were the people who we looked up to, and they overdose and die, or somebody would murder them, or, you know, something crazy would happen to them, or they get taken away and we be lost. So we were very familiar with all of that kind of hurt, all of that kind of pain, all that kind of hopelessness. We were familiar with that. But at the same time, God would always bring another person who would speak life back into us, give us a different hope. For a minute, stop thinking about this and come play soccer, something you've never done in your life. Who does that? Watch this. Where they do that at when they Black?
Right?
We don't do that.
You don't do that.
But we learned, and it caused us to watch this, because then we had to deal with racial barriers. So it taught us how to go into racial barriers in a nonviolent manner. And it showed us how to persevere in a nonviolent manner and still put our thoughts together and our energies together and our efforts together and overcome and be victorious in a nonviolent manner. You know how huge that is?
Yeah, that's massive.
Now how huge that is for a kid that's 11, 12, 13 years old, who's learned how to use his fist before, you know, being able to introduce himself.
Wow.
That's huge. Mm-hmm. That's huge. Mm-hmm. So it taught us really, really, really good things in life that we could use later on. Mm-hmm. You know, that, I mean, it's so crazy, right? He taught us to play soccer, and we were the only Black team in the whole entire recreational soccer league. So everybody else's team was mixed, or they were mostly white. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we were the bad boys, man. I mean, we were rough, you know, we got penalties for knocking people down, running over them, you know, screaming at them, you know, threatening them real quietly, you know. But God had a plan, man, because after being able to go into that arena, come out with your reputation intact, and being able to be victorious where other people said you would not be victorious, mm-hmm. where people thought that we were just wasting our time, but we were able to go in and come out victorious. And then to transcend from that to Parkside High School, which was predominantly white.
Yeah.
So God had prepared me then for where I was going, and I had no clue.
Wow. Wow.
I had no clue. I had no clue that I was going to go into my 9th grade year, going into a racist situation where people thought it was okay to call you the N-word, and you know we fought like we fought hard like barbarians, you know, my first year over there.
Wow.
Okay.
So, but God was preparing you, you know, teaching you how to do things a different way. And that's what I tell people, like my whole from 10 to like 16 was all about learning to do things opposite of where you live.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Learning how to use the tools that were given you by somebody else, even though you felt like you had not used the tool enough to be an expert with it, but use it anyway. Mm-hmm. Try it. Just try it. I remember a few guys used to always tell me, you got to just try it. Stop losing your cool. Just try it.
Mm-hmm.
Try doing it the right way. I don't want to.
Of course not.
I tried it, but I tried it.
But try it.
And it worked.
And it worked.
You know, on several occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So God had a plan, man. He was with us every step of the way, even though we were blind to him.
Yes.
He was with us every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so you know, I appreciate my upbringing. I appreciate the wake-up call to realize that life was not just the way I thought it was. There was another side to it. And I tell people, you know, I think that's God's funny way of teaching me how to have a balance.
Mm-hmm.
I let you grow up in your early years where everything is nice and everything is peachy and everybody likes you and everything's fun. But now let me show you what the rest of the world looks like. And I'm gonna show you how to survive and show you how to live a balanced life, because now you will understand, watch this, what it's like to be over here and what it's like to be over here.
Mm-hmm.
So then I guess when I make you a pastor, you'll be able to reach both sides. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
God is so strategic.
Very strategic. I wish he had just told me. Clue me in. Send me a note on a cloud or something.
No, because then you would have ran the other way. You wouldn't have.
I ran on anyway. Even when he called me, I'm not doing that. I'm just glad I survived. I'm just glad I got out. So just let me sit here and just be all right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, you know, my life, it really, 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 really helped me to be who I am. I mean, I take it all. I tell everybody it's not just one thing, it's all of it. It's the hurts, the pains, the sorrows, the disappointments, the letdowns. Mm-hmm. It was the unbelievable stories from people who saw things that you just could not fathom. You know, why you pick me out of all these people? I'm no different than them, but you see something evidently that is in here that I just don't see. It's just hard for me to believe it. But all of it shaped me to be the person that I am today.
Awesome. So, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lydia, you want to ask the next question?
Well, I want to kind of deviate just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Because you talk so much about the hope that that God put in your life.
Right.
And I'd like you to speak a little to the male situation.
Okay.
And where malehood is now.
Right.
It seems very hopeless. It seems, that's why there's a lot of acting or product of being in their environment.
Right.
Speak to that just a little bit about how, as a church and, people of God who, want to make a difference, not just in church and people who actually walk through the doors,
right,
but people who, how can we, for the male situation, not necessarily as a female, but everybody, as a church whole, how can we reach, the male pop, because pastors need help.
Right.
And, there is, any church in America you walk in, and there are about 3 men. There's a pastor, there's one old deacon, and there's somebody's son that's still living home with his mama that she making him come. So how do we change the game? What do we do? How do we speak hope and life into the young men so that they find hope in Jesus?
Okay, let me see. That's a complex question. So let me see how I want to come into this, because I don't want to leave anybody out. I want to make sure everybody understands what I'm saying. First of all, our young Black men or young males, period, they have no sense of who they are. And I know we've heard that time and time again, but that comes because most of their role models have no sense of who they are either. A lot of children do one or two things. They will imitate, which means they will follow exactly what you do, or they will find a spot that they call unique. So they either imitate you or they try to come up with something that makes them totally different than what they see. But in both places, without sound wisdom and understanding, you're left to be confused.
Yeah.
See, I will tell you like this, we grew up in an era where we had no clue who the people before us were. No clue. All we knew is who was here with us now.
Right.
And for most of us, you imitate what you see. So I heard about Malcolm X. I don't see him. I heard about Martin Luther King. I don't see him. What I see is Ray Ray and Pookie and them. And Ray Ray and Pookie and them is who talks to us because nobody else wants to.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My mom wants to talk to me. She wants to fuss at me because she's scared of what's going to happen to me.
Right.
In most cases, our dads are not there. So I don't have a male to imitate. Not one that's close to me. I don't have a male to speak into me. Now, thank God we did. But most of these young guys now, they don't. They get coaches, and I call them clowns sometimes because all they want to do is coach and win, but they don't want to do nothing for you.
Wow.
So our young males imitate. They imitate what's on the TV, and they imitate what's around them. So if he lives in a neighborhood where everything around him is criminal, then it's going to be very, very hard for him to hear anything about doing something right.
Okay. So
we have to make sure that what they get is the truth, not part of the truth, and not hoop dreams, not NFL dreams, but the truth. The one thing I talk to my son about all the time is who are you when you're not on a basketball court, when you're not on a football field, when you're not being the coolest thing on the set? Who are you? When I take away from you all the exterior things that motivate you, and I ask you about who you are in here, what is your answer? See, because if you ask most men, they can't tell you.
My God.
They can only tell you where they've been, what they've done, what has moved them, and who they like to be, but they can't tell you who they are.
Wow. And
the reason they can't tell you who they are because they haven't figured it out yet. They spent most of their time trying to survive and be all these other things. You know, I tell people, I also say it like this: we spend more time on stage than we do with our own selves.
Wow.
So you're always trying to be something for somebody else or what you hope to be instead of knowing who you are. See, and for our young males, that's tough because when they look around, all they see is females. All they see is what's on the TV, and they start to figure out this is who I'm supposed to be. It's not who you're supposed to be. And for women, I understand it's tough, but a lot of women don't know what a real man is, no how. So I'll just say it that way.
It's real.
And because they don't know what a real man is, they can't teach one.
Ooh.
Didn't say she can't raise them because a lot of unmarried mothers are doing well raising their sons, but they can't teach him.
Nope.
Because what he needs to know is who he is. Okay, so if my unmarried mother has never had a good relationship with a real man, then she can't tell me who a real man is. She can only dream and hope what he looks like. See, that's why Bible has to be part of our curriculum and not what we do on Sundays and Wednesdays.
Say that.
Because when we add that to our curriculum, then our sons and our daughters get a chance to know who they are earlier in life. Before they've been tainted with the world and what the world says and what the world provokes them to do. You know, it took me a lot of years to wash off what the neighborhood put on you, what your friends put on you, you know, what everybody said you were and who you could be. And it took a lot of years to wash that off and to find out that, you know, I am what God says I am. And a lot of people have no clue what God has said about them. And because they don't, they wander. The people wandering now are no different than the children of Israel. Because if the children of Israel knew who they were, they would not have wandered. He called them one thing and they complain because they don't see that. You brought us out here to die. You know, that kind of stuff, murmuring and complaining after God just fed you with a miracle. Nobody's ever received manna from heaven like they have.
Nobody.
But even after that, you complain when you should have stopped and said, he loves me that much. That he's done stuff that nobody else has ever seen just for me.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yes.
Because when you look at things and you get that kind of revelation, it will make you change what you were thinking about yourself.
Yes.
But see, a lot of people don't have that. You know, our young sons don't have that. That's why I try to make sure I spend enough time with my son and all his little buddies that I get the chance to talk to them about things that other people are not talking about. I don't want to know who you want to be and what you want to be when you grow up. I want to know, who are you?
Wow.
Because when I can start with who are you, and it makes you start to think, who am I? Then we get ready to head somewhere now.
Right.
See, and that's tough because most people don't know who they are. And that's in the church and out the church. We know what the Bible says. We know what scripture says. We know what Jesus says. We know what God says because it's written in red. But if I pulled you aside and made you close your Bible and asked you, tell me, who are you? A lot of people will struggle with that response. So if I don't know who I am, then what am I going to pour into the next generation?
My God.
Right.
The same confusion. That's why when you ask younger kids simple questions, just simple questions. What's your name? well, my name is William, but they call me this, and then my friends call me that, and they never call me this one, and then my mom calls me this, and then okay, so you got 9 names.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
You got 9 names. Watch this, and each one of them have a meaning.
Oh my.
My God.
And because you don't know what the meaning is, you respond to all of them, and you don't know whether it's negative or positive.
Wow.
So then you don't understand why you move the way you move and you react the way you react. And it could be simple as just the name that you're being called.
My God. Wow.
Yeah. See, so we have to take them back to the basics, man. I talk to these 16, 17-year-old kids right now about Bible. Let's talk about God.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about God. Let's talk about why God allows you to be here. Let's talk about why God has not allowed some tragedies to happen to you that's happened to others. Let's talk about who he is in relationship to you. Let's talk about the things that you don't normally think about. Mm-hmm. See, this is how we have to engage our next generation. We got to engage them on conversations that they don't have every day, mm-hmm. but they should.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If I ask them who the latest rapper is, or they can tell you, they ask them the lyrics, they can tell you.
Yep.
What's the latest dance? They can tell you.
Yep.
Who just got pregnant, who just had a baby, who going with who's sleeping with who, or they can tell you all that.
Yep.
Yes.
But they can't tell you who they are. Come on, man.
Wow. Very
Come on.
true.
It's true.
Can't tell me who you are, but you can tell me who you want to be. Okay, so if you can't tell me who you are, then you have no foundation.
That's right.
To build on to who you want to be. Mm-hmm. That's why you all over the place. You this, that, and the third all day, every day. Confused.
Yes.
And sad. Mm. You know how many people still graduate high school right now and have no clue what they're gonna do. Mm-hmm. Have no clue what they like.
Yep.
Have no clue what really interests them. Have no clue.
Yeah.
So they make decisions based on who they want to be or what they hope to be, just to find out later on, this is not me.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, our prisons are full right now with our young Black sons and brothers, fathers, uncles, pop-pops, because you know pop-pops is in there too.
Yeah.
because nobody took the time to tell them who they really are. See, even when we supersede our Black history,
right,
we were still king's kids.
Yes.
What if somebody had told me that when I was 5?
My God.
And was able to tell it to me and show it to me in such a truthful way that I could not resist it.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's not being taught, because it's not being added, it's like foreign language. And first thing they tell you, I don't want to hear that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. Why? Because it's not the way of the world. If we can get the way of the world away from our kids, mm-hmm. then we can save them. Mm-hmm. But we got to get the way of the world out. They look at the TV, man, they see everything under the sun except for God.
Yes. Yes. True. Yeah.
So they get rehearsed in everything of the world. And you know, everything in the world is enmity against God. So from the time that they're little itty bitty babies up until the time that you ready for them to get out of your house, they have become thick with the world and they are enemies of God. Because anything about God does not interest them. Turns them off.
My God.
Watch this. How can you be turned off from God when you know nothing about him?
Nothing about him.
True. Very
but
true.
As soon as somebody says something about, you should go to church, oh, nobody ain't trying to hear that. You don't even know what you're saying, bro.
Mm-hmm. And you don't know what you're missing.
You don't know what you're missing, because if you knew what you was missing, you'd have been there a long time ago.
Yes. Yes.
Indeed.
It's true.
So, I mean, it starts with the truth. We got to get back to the basics, man. We got to get back to the truth. Every person needs to know who they are, because until we know who we are, we not really helping the next person. we're causing the next person to stumble through just like we did in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In the dark. Like I said, I always talk to my son about who are you outside of all these things that everybody else knows you for. Who are you? Mm-hmm. Don't fall for the okie doke like they got me. Hoop dreams will get me out of the hood. You know, being great at sports will get you out of the hood. No, watch this. Even if it gets you out of the hood, you're going to take the hood with you and you're going to ruin your life.
Right.
You see it on TV all the time.
That's right.
It's true.
How you gonna make it? You got millions and millions of dollars, and you still riding around acting like you crazy, like you a rich gangster.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's true.
Yes. You get
so
money
ain't the answer, then, is it?
No.
So why are we still chasing it? Why we think if you know you stand on the corner and you making 30 G's and you making 90 G's a month and you got all this money, you can buy what you want, but your insides are still rotten, man. You still have no clue. You're not closer to who you are, who you think you should be, and you still don't know who you are. So you just you rich and still empty, still miserable, still upset.
Yep.
Still wishing you could do something different. But if it ain't no inside change, ain't no change at all.
That's true. That is so true.
No change at all. That's why they get rich and still mess up, still end up broke, still go to jail. Because they don't know who they are. If a real king treats women so much better than that, because he knows who she is.
Right.
Treats his brother so much better than that because he realized it is his brother. So I wouldn't kill my brother, would I?
No.
A lot of things can be changed by the truth. Black on black crime would change by the truth. But people don't know the truth. They don't know what the truth is.
Yeah.
They keep thinking the truth is about who is God. You go ahead and wrestle with that. I need to know the truth about who I am. Because when I find out who I am, then I change some of the things that I do. I change how I see things, how I understand things. And watch this, and nobody has to tell me.
Yes.
Even my desire would change.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
You know, it's funny because we always, you know, race is big, right? And no matter what we do, race always comes up, right? So, you know, we do a lot of this crazy comparison stuff, you know, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Are the Joneses black or white? Somebody tell me. I've heard it for years.
I don't know who they are. I don't know what they look like. I don't know.
They just got more than me.
You know, and we say that, right? And we don't even know what the Joneses got, right?
Exactly.
We don't even know if the car the Joneses pull up in is bought and paid for, or if it's a lease, or if it's a rental. We don't even know, but we still trying to keep up with them.
My God, yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
You know, so we trying to copycat the Joneses, and we don't even know the Joneses situation.
Right. Right.
You know, let the Joneses be the Joneses, and you be the Browns. And be happy being the Browns. Be the best Brown you could ever be, instead of trying to imitate somebody that you don't even know what's going on over there.
Right.
You hear what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
They could be showing you outwardly that we all out in a bag of chips, and they don't even love each other inside.
My God.
Yes. Very.
But race always comes up, right? And then what we do is we compare. And you know, our kids go to school and they compare themselves to their white counterparts, and they're like, well, you know, he doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. He doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. And what's wrong with me? Nothing.
Nothing.
The only difference between you and the other kid is how he is being raised and what he is being taught. They teach their kids that they are going to college.
Yes. Yes.
Not that they might go to college. They teach their kids that they must go to college.
Yes. They
don't give them the option of not going to college.
Wow.
You hear what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Now, college may not be for everybody, but they still tell their kids, you are going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not that you are going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Truth and then words. We have to be careful what we say to our children. We have to be careful what we say to our men. We have to be careful what we say to our women, because the world was shaped by words, and people's lives are shaped by words. Labels go a long way. So we got to start taking labels off. If you don't want your son to be a drug dealer, then stop letting him think that drug dealers is the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to be a player? Stop letting him think that being a player is the way to go. Mm-hmm. Because when he's younger and is cute, it's going to come back to bite you when he's 16.
Oh, yes.
Because by the time he gets 16, he's poisoned, and you're going to have a hard time trying to get the poison out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, we got to give our kids the truth, man. We got to watch what we say to them. Speak to them the way we want them to speak about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my son all the time, you a king, man. You a boss. You should never have to work for anybody. But if you choose to, always know that it is your prerogative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because what's in you from God can sustain you all your life.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to believe it, and you got to know it's there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, so we got a lot of unteaching, and we got a lot of teaching that we need to do, man. The school can't raise your kid.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I know they like these little funny sayings. It takes a village to raise a kid. Okay, but who's in your village?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
And if they're in your village, what have they done?
Right.
Where's their substance?
Mm-hmm.
Show me that you want your kid to have what they got.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, man. You know, a lot of people used to think that I was a little overprotective because I wouldn't let my kids go places, and I wouldn't let them just hang out here. Y'all ain't got nothing coming, man. I don't disrespect nobody. I try to respect everybody and treat them like I want to be treated.
Right.
At the same time, if what you have doesn't look like the blueprint from God for my son, then no, he's not coming over there.
Mm-hmm.
He can get poisoned at home if I leave the TV on long enough. I definitely don't need him to come to your house and drink no poison.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
True. You hear what I'm saying? True. So we gotta. I can just say so much, man. Like this could be an ongoing, but I mean, I'll just say this.
Part two.
We have to be what we want them to be.
Huh.
Example. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because if I'm what I want my son to be, then he has no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at it every day. And he knows it's possible. And he will not be distracted by other things because he's looking at it. So when I speak to him about it, he has something that he can reference. He can put his hands on it. He can feel it. He can touch it. He can see it. He can understand it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I have to be what I want him to be. And when you have sons that have no fathers, they have no clue what they want to be. They have no clue who they should be. And if you don't have a real man somewhere nearby, a pop, an uncle, or somebody who can exemplify God, then you in for a battle.
Mm-hmm.
You in for a battle. It's not hopeless, but you in for a battle.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard because he's gonna find somebody to gravitate to.
Yeah.
And if it's not a good example, that's the example he's gonna follow.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, I hope I didn't ramble too much for y'all.
Oh no, that was good stuff. That was good stuff.
Okay, that's why I said awesome, encouraging truth. So no, you didn't ramble too much.
No, not at all. We need to know how to reclaim the youth and how to reclaim the youth and the men.
The men.
How do we get them? That's what we need to know. That's the kind of stuff we need to be learning.
Let me tell you something that's real crazy, right? It's gonna sound crazy, but it's the real truth, right? And this is what I tell a lot of women who are dealing with men and dealing with sons and younger guys, right? I tell them always, never forget this. If you treat an adult man like a little boy, you'll always have his attention. And what do I mean by that? Not by bossing him around or telling him what to do, but giving him the support that you would give your son.
Oh my goodness.
Giving him the love that the little boy always asks for. Remember, the little boy falls down, the first thing he wants you to do is pick him up.
Right.
Right?
Right.
When a man falls down, what most women say to him is, get over it.
Wow. That's good teaching right there. Keep going with that, because that's good.
And he can't get over it because he's hurt. And most men don't know how to deal with hurt. So that's why you have to treat him like a little boy at times, because it will restore him, pick his confidence back up, and have him go on out there. You know, once mommy says you can do it, boy, listen here. Listen here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's important. Yes.
Yeah. See, and I know it sounds crazy, but because we don't have it right, we dish it out wrongly. And then what we do is we get his wrath and his rage instead of, I think I can. You just really made me believe I can do this. Because as a man, we still need support.
Yeah.
We still need a cheerleader. We still need somebody, watch this, who believes in us.
Wow.
Who doesn't fuss, who doesn't cuss, who doesn't batter. Listen, it's tough enough to survive the environment.
Right.
I should not have to endure the environment when I come home. And this is what I tell a lot of guys, man, if you don't have somebody who supports you in all the right things, leave them alone.
Smart.
Because when things get tough, the well's gonna be empty. You ain't gonna have nothing to drink from, and she's not gonna be able to help you. And when she can't help you, you're gonna resent her. And you're gonna want to get away from her.
Yeah.
See, when younger kids, if you pay attention to younger boys, they come in talking to you. And depending on your response, they either keep talking to you or they shut all the way up forever.
Wow.
So when women deal with younger men and adult men, remember there's a little boy in there. And you have to be wise enough to know when the little boy needs some attention, when the little boy needs some help, when the little boy needs some support, and when the little boy may need, an extra elbow. Same thing I tell guys. Remember, she's a little girl. There's a little girl in there who needs to sit in your lap. There's a little girl in there who needs your arms around her. There's a little girl in there who needs you to say, you're beautiful, you're pretty, you're gorgeous. You can do it. If nobody cares, I care. I got your back. See, that's how it works. See, and when that little girl hears her daddy say that, man, she can do anything. She'll fly a helicopter.
Right.
And never had a lesson.
Yeah. Because her daddy told her she could.
If her daddy told her she could, listen, my youngest daughter used to tell people all the time, well, I can do anything. And they used to thought she was arrogant, but she wasn't arrogant. What she was saying is that I told her at the house, girl, you can do anything you want. I believe you can do anything you want. That airplane right there, you can fly that airplane. Yes, you can. Don't let nobody tell you can't. So she would go to school and tell people, I can do anything. My daddy said I can do anything I want. You can.
And she trusts what her daddy said.
Yeah. That's a whole word.
Woo!
How about it? How about it?
Good.
How about it?
If we would learn to trust what our daddy says about us and says to us.
If we could just trust it.
Right.
We can't trust it because we don't know it's true. But if we could just believe that it was true, we could trust it through anything.
Right.
Through anything. Anything. That's why when most women get saved and they really believe in God, man, you can't tell them nothing. Nothing. They walk right through a burning house. How about Jesus is with me? I know I can do it. But on the same token, when you get a man who really believes in God, man, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. See? But you got to address, we got to learn how to address the little boy, and we got to learn how to address the little girl, even in grown-ups. And if we forget that they're there, you're always going to have a problem. Always. We put expectations on people because we think they're grown. And age, we say it all the time, age ain't nothing but a number. It's true. So why you calling them grown when they get 18?
Wow.
What do they really know?
Nothing. Not much.
Not much. That's why they still calling you on the phone. And you gotta keep telling them again and again. And okay, now you know what you're dealing with. There's that little boy. He got a bigger body, but he's still in there.
Wow.
Man. Yeah.
There's that little girl. Yeah, she's tall. She's gorgeous. Yes, she is. But she's still in there. She's still in there. So if you speak to her and you cherish her like you did when she was a little girl, she'll still make you proud. She'll still do amazing things, outstanding things. She'll still do them. These are things that we've got to learn. We've got to institute. We've got to wake up, man, and really been able to discern and know who's in front of us, man. When they don't know who they are, as a people of God and representatives of the kingdom, we've got to know. We've got to be able to speak it to them.
Right. Right.
That's true.
That's important. That's missing identity. Identity crisis in the church, in the world at large, but in the church even more so, where we should know who we are the most. A lot of times we're still trying to figure it out.
Singing on the choir.
Yeah.
Ordering at the door.
Yeah.
Even preaching sometimes and still have no clue.
Figuring it out.
Watch this. You know, if you remember, you paid attention.
Wow.
The world is a stage for gifted people.
Yes. Yes. Wow.
But gifted people don't always have the best character.
That's true.
True. Yes.
So as long as you got a gift, the world gonna take you. They'll take you. Come on in here.
That's true.
But when you start showing some character, get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got to make sure that our kids, our next generation has character. Choose character over your gift.
That's good, Pastor. Oh my goodness.
That's so good. So good. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. See, because we don't teach character to kids. We teach kids how to exemplify their gift. So we want them to, you know, if he's good at sports, we want him to lift weights and get big. So his gift can do things for him. You know, his gift can take him places, but his character will either bring him back home broken or his character will allow him to stay there.
Yes.
You know, my daughters can sing, but I don't want them to sing their way into trouble. I want them to walk their way into authority. And once my character gets me in, then when I start singing, you'll realize I'm gifted too. Yeah. Yes.
Character over the gift. I love that.
I I want you to invite me over because of the person I am.
Right.
And then when I get in, because you invited me over, I'll be so gracious and kind. I'm gonna share my gift with you. I don't want you to call me because I'm gifted.
Oh,
yes.
And then get angry with me because my character is no good.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got a lot of people who are gifted, and once they get close, people realize that their character's no good and they want to throw them away. Check the prison. Everybody there is gifted in some way.
Yes.
But the character was rough.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to deal with, watch this, with uncivilized character. But I tell you what, and you can tell everybody, God specializes in uncivilized character.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. There's some rough riders in the Bible. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. He specializes. That's who he wants. He wants people with uncivilized character. So once he gets finished with them, he'll get the glory.
Yes. They see the before and after.
How about that?
Wow.
How about that?
My God. Such wisdom.
Gosh, that's awesome.
God's good, man. He's good.
Such wisdom. Oh my goodness. And somebody said thought-provoking. It is thought-provoking though.
It is.
Because you do think about it, that a lot of us as parents, and even if we're not parents, we see kids are talented in something and they can do something really, really good. And we feed that. Absolutely. But we don't feed what's important. We don't feed what's going to keep them in their gift.
Right. So all your kid is just gifted. There's nothing else to him.
Exactly.
Your daughter's just gifted. There's nothing else to her. So if her gift does not come forward, then you're really saying to her that you're nothing. That's why when people build dreams off of gifts and the dream doesn't come to fruition, they're destroyed. Watch this, by the gift that God gave them.
Wow.
Does that make sense? Does that even make sense? That doesn't make sense because it's out of order.
It is.
Wow.
Because you can sing, you think that you're supposed to make money by singing? No, the voice you got was to bless God.
Yes.
Right.
So you build your hopes and dreams on being a singer. And then when they don't come to fruition, you feel like there's no need to live. Really? That's what the world does to you. And we have been so tightly knitted with the world that we've been bamboozled ourselves.
Performance pushers.
That's what we are. We puppets on a string. Every time somebody stroke your string, you dance.
Wow, true.
And because you're so attached, you can never get out of the way.
You can't get out of your own way. Wow.
Can't get out of the way.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
That's why the world is so performance driven. If you're not winning, you're fired. If you're not performing, we get rid of you. Okay, so thank God that one man's trash is God's treasure. I so love that. Throw me. You ought to tell somebody every now and then, throw me away.
Oh!
Throw me away.
Throw me away.
Throw me away.
Oh my goodness.
Throw me away. Because when you throw me away, I'll finally be free. And when he picks me up, I'll be whole. Yeah, throw me away.
Oh my God. Throw me away.
The whole word.
Yes.
Yeah, throw me away so God can pick me up. Yes.
Right. See, that's the kind of stuff that I would tell prisoners, right? I would say, yo, you in the best place, at the right time, and you ought to call somebody on the phone and tell them, thank you for throwing me away. You ought to write a judge, instead of asking for a sentence modification, you should thank him. Thank you for throwing me away, because now I'm free from the system that had perverted me in the first place.
Yes.
Now I have time for God to come along and show me who I really was.
My God. My God.
Because I would have never seen him as long as I stayed in your system, as long as I did it your way. As long as I thought, this is the way that I need to do things, I'd never find it. I'd never find the peace. I'd never find the truth to life.
A lot of people can't see until they get in a place where they're stuck. They can't do all the stuff they used to doing. God sat them down.
Yes.
Sometimes people end up in the hospital that way. You won't keep still, and God won't talk to you. So He gotta put you where He can talk to you.
Yeah.
You're not so busy doing here and there.
Absolutely. The scripture says, that he leads us to green pastures. But He also has to make us
lie down.
Oh my God. He makes us lie down. Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Oh gosh! Wow.
That is good.
Yeah.
That was so
smart. We so smart. We don't know it's good to stay here. So He has to make us.
Makes us lie
down.
Makes us lie down.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, He leads us beside the still waters, because most of the time we don't like quietness. We like the noise, the chaos,
right.
The hustle and the bustle, that makes us feel alive. So then when we get to quiet places, we don't know the blessed of the quiet place. So He has to lead us in ways, watch this, that we're not used to and we're uncomfortable with, so that we understand the blessing of the still water.
Wow.
Yes.
Still water I can drink from, but a rushing river I dare not.
Oh my. Right.
Oh yeah. Right. For sure.
Because if I make a mistake and fall in, then I might lose my life.
Yes. Even besides still waters. Wow. Wow.
If we only knew the truth, if we knew the truth.
I was thinking about my daughter was talking to me one day about her devotional, and she was talking about solitude. And I was like, sometimes people think that they think that solitude is isolation.
Right.
God will isolate us or cause us to be isolated, but at some point it has to become solitude. It has to become a place of peace and a place of serenity where you can hear from God and where you can receive what He's saying to you. But if you always think about I'm isolated, that's negative. That's negative. You're not going to hear from God because you think it's a bad place.
Right.
But where He has you is in a good place, so you can hear from Him and receive Him. And so when your gift got you to where you are, but your character, because you're in solitude and you can hear from God, can keep you wherever He's letting you go because of your gift.
Yes.
He leadeth me beside the waters. He restored my soul.
Yes.
That's where you get your soul restored by. Go ahead, Pastor. Go ahead.
Yes. God speaks in a still small voice, right?
Yes.
So if it's still and it's small, which means it has not a lot of volume to it.
Yes.
I must also take the same posture to hear. I must also be still. So that I can hear the voice that's speaking to me. He says crazy stuff like, my sheep know me. They know my voice. And a stranger, they won't follow. But how does a sheep know your voice? Because it's the same voice that speaks to them all the time.
Right.
In the same way. In the same manner. So I get used to that voice. And when I get used to that voice, when I don't hear that voice, I know how to find it. Yeah, God. Yeah. And I get still.
Yes.
I blot out all the chaos, all the noise. Watch this. Everything that's not of God, I blot out. And that usually leaves me in an isolated place.
Right.
Where He can speak to me. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Look, this is good. This is so
all night. We could go all. You know how it was like, you know how you sit at Jesus' feet. You know, you just that people didn't want to move. You know, it was like, Master, send them away, but they were hungry. They wanted to hear. They wanted to feast on what he was saying. So I'm saying, like, we could sit here all night and just feast on.
Right.
That's how these lives have been for me. I can tell you from the day we started, every live we've had, it's just been not just the testimony, but everything in it that goes along with it. That's just like, oh, I just want to know, more, I just don't want to stop, we ain't gonna hold y'all all night. I promise. I'm just saying, just saying. But yes, you just want, you do get that insight into why Mary just didn't want to get up. Martha was mad, but Mary just, no, she chose the better part. She gonna get this good word right here. Yeah. That's what I want. I want that feeding. I want to eat. I want that good word, because this is how we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
This is how we're gonna be sustained. We cannot make it without God's word, and to see it living epistles. Right. Like, we need living epistles. So not only do we read it, we see it played out in the lives of the people we see every day. Yeah, and it's shared. People aren't scared to share their testimony and tell of the goodness of the Lord, because he's awesome, and it makes a difference. It changes lives. So
it does. It does. You're so right. You're so right.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. To God be the glory. The marvelous things that he's done and the things that he's doing, and the people who believe.
Yes. Yeah.
God's a good God, man. I'm telling you, you can't beat him.
Cannot might as well join him, because you can't beat him.
Might well.
If you join
him, that's a good segue.
He's got benefits if you join him.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes.
Sign-on bonus.
You in trouble. You in big trouble.
True. It's true.
Yeah. So,
it's
true.
God is I was getting ready to lead into the next part. I was gonna say that was
go ahead.
That was a good segue into, and we never close the live without offering Jesus.
Yes.
So when we are graced with a pastor, we usually like to ask the pastor if you would, this is an altar call moment. Somebody might be picking up the live. We don't know anywhere. I got friends. She got friends. You got friends. Yeah. And anybody could just be scrolling through Facebook and they hear the name of Jesus for the first time in their lives. Right. So, we always make a space to offer Jesus. So if you would, Pastor Cook, give us a little altar call. Or just invite folks to Jesus who don't know Jesus.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I would say to all my brothers and sisters, and that's you, whether you saved or not, you still my brother and you still my sister. If you just understand this one truth, that Christ died for all of us. The Bible says that while we were yet sinners, he died for us. So that means all of us in our broken places, all of us in our disobedient places, all of us in the places where you don't think nobody wants to deal with you. Christ died for you right while you in that place, right where you are. Yeah. The reason that you're here is because God has a plan for you. He created you in his image and his likeness. Yeah, even you, if you're not saved, even you were still created in the image of likeness of God. Mm-hmm. So he gave his son that you and him would be reunited. Mm-hmm. So if you're really tired of the way things have been going, I'm adjuring you to give God a try. Right. Anything else that goes wrong, if we buy a car and something goes wrong with that car, we take it back to where we got it. We buy something in the store and it doesn't fit, or something is malfunctioning on it, we take it back to where we got it. Hallelujah. So all I'm saying to you, for once in your life, try going back to the person who created you, because he's the only person who can make things right in places that you want to have fixed and cannot find anybody, or you don't have enough in yourself to fix it. Here's your opportunity to throw both hands up and say to God, help me. I tell you, I called God back in 1995 because my life was a mess and I had no other answer. And so from 95 until this day, I have never walked away from him and he has never left me. And if God can do that for somebody like me from where I come from, he can do that from you. I am the example. You might not know Jesus, but you see me. You hear me. I am the example. Whatever you've done, I've done twice. And God saved my life and taught me how to live. And if you on here, and if you watching, if you happen to come across this late at night, I know you want to live.
Yes.
Because if you didn't want to live, you wouldn't keep trying all the things that you try.
Yes.
You wouldn't keep getting high to escape the problems. You wouldn't keep trying to go to work and trying to work your way out of a situation. You wouldn't keep trying to love after love has disappointed you. And you will do these things because you want to live. Well, tonight I'm offering you life. And I'm offering it to you in a way that God gave it to all of us, freely.
Yes.
You don't have to change nothing. All you have to do is surrender and give God your heart. Believe in his son. The Bible says real simple, man. If you believe in Jesus Christ and confess with your mouth and believe that God raised him from the dead, you believe that in your heart, you're saved. You ain't even got to go to church. Let me tell you the whole truth.
Nope.
All you got to do is believe in God and that he gave his son for you. And the truth is, if you were the only person alive, he would gave his son for you, and the son went to the cross that you would live.
That's right.
It's just that easy. If I wish I had time to tell you how God really loves you and that everything that God does is for you. And if you can just believe that, then you already on your way. Life is getting ready to turn around in ways that you have never considered.
Yes.
So my prayer for you is that you will give your life to Christ. You will believe in Jesus Christ and give your life to God. And allow God to make the changes. Allow God to mold and shape your life. And that you'll be so surprised. I never thought I'd be here. I'm going to tell you something about myself that a lot of people don't know, but I will tell you. I used to say to myself that by the time I was 25, I was going to be in a penitentiary for the rest of my life.
Wow. Wow.
But here I am on a Zoom talking to you about a God that can do things that supersede the nonsense that we believe in our minds about ourselves.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
He did things for my life that I don't even have time to tell you. But I will tell you if you ask me, but I don't have time to tell you. And he can do the same thing for you. The world will tell you a lot of things about yourself that just are not true. But if you could only believe the truth of the word of God,
only believe,
then life will come to you and things will begin to be so much better. So I'm just saying to you, the gift is yours. We're coming to Christmas time. The gift is yours. If you want it, just reach out and get it.
Yes.
Just say to God, I surrender.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Take my life.
Yes.
And do what you need to do with it. I'm tired of trying to do it my way because my way gets me nowhere. You know, I got this little slogan that I share with people all the time, and it is so crazy. You know, I got this thing that I do. It's called I Do What I Want. And it takes me to a place called nowhere where I don't want to be. For once in my life, I'm going to do something that most people don't do. I'm going to surrender. And I'm going to allow God to do with my life what he had predestined and purposed from the day that I was born.
Yes.
So I just adjure you. Give your life to God. It's the best thing you will ever do.
best.
I promise you.
The best. Yes. Amen. Amen. To God be the glory. Yep. But if you receive the admonishment from Pastor, we say welcome to the family.
Hey.
Come on in.
Welcome.
Yes.
Find you a Bible believing church that teaches the truth, that your spirit may be edified. And we just say, we pray for you. We pray that you'll continue on the journey. We pray that you don't give up. You keep fighting. You keep pushing.
Yes. Read the Bible for
yourself.
Put it on your phone. You don't leave home without your phone. Get the Bible app. There's versions on there. There's old English
translations.
We can understand translations. Get the Bible, read it for yourself, listen to it for yourself, and yes, find a good Bible believing church that's preaching what you read.
That's right.
Not preaching what you read. You gotta find somewhere else to go.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah. Don't quit. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep reading. Keep studying. Keep asking God to open your understanding and so you can get what he's trying to say to you, because he's always speaking. We just got to always listening.
Yeah. Always. Yes.
All right, y'all. Oh, woo, boy, I feel so good.
Again, Pastor Cook. Thank you so much.
Love you guys.
Yeah. We love you. We appreciate you.
Thank you for rounding out the end of 2020.
Yes.
Our last guest of 2020.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. We are fastly approaching our 1 year in March, and it'll be a whole year that God has allowed us to have this platform. So we're grateful. We're planning. We got to think ahead, but we are so grateful to you and every guest we've had, to Pastor K. Cook.
Yes.
So many brothers, sisters, friends, elders, pastors, ministers, everybody. We're just so grateful. And for everybody who's faithful in tuning in every first and third Monday, we're just grateful. We're so grateful. We couldn't do any of this without you guys. And it's all about giving God glory. That's what birthed this, is just giving God glory. We just want people to have hope and to know God is still God and he's still doing great things.
Yes, he is.
So we thank you all. Thank you guys. Enjoy your Christmas season.
Yes.
Eat some good food, share some good stories, hug somebody virtually or in person if they Rona free.
Yes.
Okay. But love on each other, guys. Love on each other. We can connect like never before, even if it's not the way we did it before.
That's right.
Exactly.
Just remember to connect with each other. And we love you. We're going to let y'all go.
Have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'll see you January 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. The first Monday is the 3rd, right?
No, the first Monday is the 4th.
The 4th. Okay, I'm a day off. January 4th.
We'll be back January the 4th next year. We'll see you next year.
Next year. So enjoy until then. We love you guys. We're going to end the live. Pastor, just stay 2 seconds so we can say goodbye to you. All right. We love y'all.
God bless y'all.
Bye.
God bless you.